Don't you dare take her to a doctor.
I noticed a strange swelling in my 10-year-old daughter's belly. As I hurried to take her to the hospital, my husband yelled and blocked my way. Why was he so frantic? Was there something he feared would be discovered during the examination? When I quietly took my daughter to the hospital, the doctor gave us a diagnosis that I never expected. And from my daughter's own words, I learned a shocking truth that left me trembling with rage. I will never forgive him. This anger was directed at my husband, whom I thought adored our daughter. I never imagined he could do such a thing. My husband, Kenny, and I worked together at my father's toy company, though we joined the workforce at different times. It eventually led to an office romance and then marriage. After getting married, I resigned, and a year later, I found out I was pregnant. But not everything was going smoothly. This all happened when I was 9 months pregnant. Kenny, what's the meaning of this?
What's got you so angry?
I mean this. Don't you have anything to say about this bank account?
That is…
My husband had withdrawn $3,000 from our joint saving without telling me. The baby is coming soon, and we need every penny. What on earth did you spend such a large amount on? I was furious because we had been saving every month for the future.
I spent it on anime. There was this character I really liked, and I just had to have the merchandise.
Kenny's mumbling and lack of clarity in speech finally pushed me over the edge with anger. Anime, with a family on the way. What are you thinking? We're getting a divorce.
Wait, just calm down, okay?
He was panicking, trying to soothe me. I am calm. Who do you think made me this angry? Do you even understand what being a parent means?
I'm sorry. I won't do it again, I promise. Please forgive me.
Watching him beg for forgiveness, my anger began to subside. I regretted impulsively mentioning divorce. Considering the arrival of our child made me nervous about raising her alone, so I decided to forgive Kenny. After that, he seemed to have learned his lesson and enjoyed his hobbies with just his allowance. Soon after, I gave birth to our daughter. The daughter, born 10 years ago weighing just over 5 pounds, is now in 4th grade. I used to worry about her slow growth compared to other kids, but now I realize it was unnecessary worry.
I might soon be taller than you, Mom.
Jennifer, innocently laughing, had shot up in heights in starting elementary school and might indeed surpass me soon. She even looked mature for her age, often mistaken for a middle schooler. As for Kenny, he lacked fatherly awareness for a while after Jennifer was born, doing things only when I asked him to. I can't exactly pin down when that started, but seems like he started getting oddly interested in our daughter since she started growing up, and he began actively participating in parenting too. Kenny adores our only daughter, and Jennifer loves her dad dearly.
All right, Jennifer. After we take a shower together today, let's sneak some ice cream without telling Mom.
Yeah, let's do that. Daddy, let's go take a quick shower.
Hey, Mom can hear everything, you know? It wasn't just the shower. They sometimes slept in the same bed too, a habit from her early years, which I found endearing. But I started to wonder if maybe we should stop this behavior. It came up during a coffee date with some mom friends.
Recently, my daughter has started to detest my husband. It's been tough.
Really? How so?
She tells him, "Dad, you stink. Don't come near me." in such a strong tone that my husband is getting depressed.
That must be sad for him. We're still in a phase where she loves her dad. They still take showering together and share a bed.
Really?
The moment I shared this, I saw a surprised, somewhat taken aback look on my friend's face, making me feel it wasn't the norm. Maybe that's strange.
Not necessarily strange. My husband stopped showering with our daughter before she reached second grade, saying it felt embarrassing for him.
Is that so? But my daughter is 10 now, and her body is starting to change, becoming more like a woman.
Jennifer is quite mature, isn't she? But it's nice that she loves her dad.
My friend tried to reassure me, but I couldn't shake the thought from my mind. So that night, I brought it up with Kenny. Hey, how long do you plan to keep showering with Jennifer?
Huh? Why ask all of a sudden? But well, as long as possible, I guess.
Are you serious? My friend's husband stopped before their daughter was in second grade because he felt it was inappropriate.
So what? That's them. Jennifer loves me, so it's fine.
Kenny seemed not to take it seriously. Thinking deeply wasn't his thing. But I wondered if there would come a time when Jennifer naturally starts to avoid her father. She doesn't seem to mind now, so I decided to wait and see a little longer. However, I would later regret not considering this more deeply. A few weeks later, one morning. Jennifer, good morning. Hurry up, or you'll be late.
Good morning.
What happened to you? My daughter's pajamas were strangely disheveled when she woke up. I had noticed her clothes disordered before, but that day, she also seemed listless, pale, and downcast. Jennifer, are you okay? Do you feel sick? Does something hurt?
No, I'm fine. Maybe I'm just really hungry. I've been getting hungry a lot lately. Maybe it's a growth spurt.
She forced a bright smile, but her evasive manner made me suspicious. You can tell me if something's bothering you anytime.
Yeah, I got it.
She quickly looked away, then started eating her breakfast with a smile. After this incident, I noticed a change in her. Gradually, Jennifer began avoiding Kenny.
Jennifer, what shall we talk about while lying in bed tonight?
I think I'll sleep with Mom tonight. I have a lot I want to talk to her about.
You can talk to Mom anytime, right? Dad only gets to talk to you at bedtime because of work.
Yeah, I know, but...
She averted her eyes from her father and fell silent. I promised Jennifer we'd have some girl talk tonight. Another time with Dad, maybe. I playfully bailed her out, and Kenny clicked his tongue and left the living room. Are you okay? You can say no to Dad if you don't like it.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
She continued to avoid her father, who still tried to invite her to showering and sleep together. Jennifer is hitting puberty. Maybe you should stop pressuring her. I hinted to Kenny, but he looked alarmingly angry. I was happy to see her grow and naturally start to set boundaries with her father, but it seemed he saw it differently. Perhaps it's hard for a dad to accept his daughter drifting away, so I didn't dwell on it much. Months later, I was shocked to see Jennifer's lower abdomen unusually swollen one morning. Guess what? Jennifer's lower abdomen is oddly swollen. Jennifer, what happened to your belly?
What do you mean?
She seemed unconcerned, but it was clearly not normal. Look at this, Kenny. Shouldn't we take her to the hospital? In a rush, I called my husband from the bathroom where he was getting ready and showed him Jennifer's swollen belly.
Don't you dare take her to a doctor.
After a brief look of surprise, he suddenly raised his voice and started to panic. But this swelling in her belly is definitely not normal, right?
Anyway, going to the doctor is out of the question. Don't you dare take her there.
Kenny kept insisting on it before heading off to work. Something is not right. But I can't just not take her to the hospital. Of course, I feel responsible for not noticing sooner, but there's no time for leisurely talk. It could be too late if something happens to her. Jennifer, we need to go to the hospital. Get ready.
But Dad said not to go.
We'll handle it. Don't worry. I just had to get her in the car and drive to the hospital. Jennifer, it's going to be okay. Everything will be fine. Once we arrived at the hospital, I tried to calm my increasingly anxious daughter as we waited. Feeling her belly again, it was noticeably swollen in the lower abdomen.
Mom, I'm sorry for keeping quiet. I've been feeling sick and haven't been able to eat much lately. And recently, there seems to be something in my belly.
The dreadful thought that she might be pregnant crossed my mind. But my daughter is only 10 years old. If that were the case, then who could the guy who got her pregnant be? The very thought sent shivers down my spine. Soon the examination was over, and the doctor gave us unexpected results. If only I had paid more attention to you, this wouldn't have happened. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault, Mom, but Dad.
Gradually, Jennifer started to reveal bits and pieces of what happened to her. What she disclosed was a shocking truth that had been hidden. As I stroked Jennifer's back as she cried, my emotions were in turmoil with anger towards my husband and an indescribable sense of disgust. I won't ever forgive him doing such a thing to my daughter. I was determined to make him regret it, no matter what. Immediately upon returning home, I checked Kenny's study, then made a phone call to a certain place. Next, I texted my husband. I'll be late tonight due to the neighborhood association meeting. Jennifer is feeling unwell and sleeping. With everything set, I left my daughter at my parents' house and waited at home for my husband's return that night. When he was about to come home, I pretended to be Jennifer and hid under her covers in the bed, holding my breath.
I'm home.
Kenny came home earlier than usual, seemingly in a good mood, went straight to his room, and then entered my daughter's room with something in his hand. He stood by the bedside, convinced that our daughter was there, and ran his hand over the covers. Just as I suspected. Despicable! Hiding under the covers so he wouldn't notice, my disgust grew as he continued to touch.
Jennifer, you're feeling unwell, aren't you? Are you okay?
I shook my head under the blanket, and then he started speaking in a coaxing tone.
Let me see your face. Maybe you'll feel better after seeing Daddy, huh?
Kenny kept talking persistently and even tried to forcibly remove the blanket. The struggle ensued between me, holding the blanket tightly, and my husband trying to see my face at all costs.
You don't have to be shy anymore. Daddy has been lonely because Jennifer has been so cold lately.
With a voice that sounded more like he was talking to a lover than our daughter, I gritted my teeth and endured, despite the creepy feeling.
Looks like Mom's gonna be late coming home tonight. So now's the perfect time to take it easy and spend some quality time doing our usual thing, you know.
Unable to bear the eerie voice any longer, I grabbed the blanket and pulled myself up. What do you mean usual stuff? What are you taking your time with?
Well, Jennifer, what are you doing here all of a sudden?
Shocked, Kenny stumbled backward, fell down, and scattered what he was holding across the floor. Then, seeing me, he got a panicked look.
Why is Natalie here? What about the neighborhood association meeting? Where's Jennifer?
Oh, that was a lie. I had to do it to expose your true self.
What? That's slow of you.
Say what you will. I was surprised that Kenny believed the email and acted exactly as I had anticipated. He fell for the trap and showed his true colors.
Hey, explain what you are intending to do.
I should be the one asking for explanations. What is this? You intended to put it on Jennifer. I pointed to the items Kenny had dropped on the floor. Seemingly forgetting them in his panic, he hastily gathered them up, clutching them close.
This is, well, it's a present for Jennifer. I thought it would suit her.
Really? Unable to withstand my gaze, he was stuttering and sweating profusely. But this is clearly a cosplay outfit, right? What my husband had was unmistakably a costume of an anime character that men would fancy. Moreover, the costume had large openings at the shoulders and chest, and the skirt was extremely short. Calling this a present really makes me question your taste.
This is. Jennifer said she wanted to try it on because it looked cute.
My husband was stammering, sweating profusely. That's one of those late-night anime sexy characters, right? There's no way she'd watch something like that.
Well, you see.
Kenny fell silent after that and didn't attempt to answer. Did you intend to dress Jennifer as well and take pictures in this? My husband visibly paled at my remarks.
Well, it's not like. I didn't mean it like that, but. Well, if we can take photos as a memento, I guess I wouldn't mind.
Oh, really? You've been doing this all along. I thrust an album in front of him. It was something I found stashed away in the back of the closet when I checked his study, something he seemed to treasure. There were numerous cosplay photos tucked inside.
Hey, don't you dare touch my treasures with your filthy hands.
Kenny, who had only been speaking hesitantly until then, suddenly changed his demeanor, shoved me aside, and snatched the album away. Ouch. What are you doing? There's no need to be so rough.
You're the one who recklessly took my stuff out. It's all your fault. It's all because of you.
How? Why would you say that? While cradling the snatched album protectively, my husband glared at me.
Because it's true. It's all your fault for restricting my anime hobby.
Furthermore, my husband started complaining that with only his allowance, he couldn't afford the merchandise of his favorite anime characters, and he couldn't even attend events easily.
And on top of that, when our child was just born, I was even robbed of the time to watch anime while being forced to babysit.
I was left speechless by my husband's assertions. Yet, he continued to press his argument.
But Jennifer's growth is so rapid, and she's gradually becoming more like a favorite character in terms of her physique. So I couldn't help but look forward to it.
Seeing him flipping through the album with such fascination sent shivers down my spine. You've got to be kidding me. Do you have any idea how much Jennifer was agonizing over this? She's only 10 years old, and yet she's been through such terrifying experiences. The truth is, on the way back from the hospital, I had heard this story from my daughter. My husband said that when he slept with her in the middle of the night, he always dressed Jennifer in costumes and took pictures of her. At first, she was happy and excited to be able to wear cute clothes, but lately, with so many skin-bearing outfits, she gradually started to dislike it. So Jennifer said she didn't want to wear them anymore, but my husband wouldn't budge at all. Furthermore, Jennifer became scared after finding out that Kenny was posting the photos he took on social media. Surprised to hear that, I checked my husband's computer, where there were rows of photos of a girl with clearly still a kid body. Although her face wasn't clearly visible, they were obviously Jennifer's figure without any doubt.
Stop snooping around other people's stuff.
Well, if you're that concerned, you should have set a password or something. I could have easily looked at it as soon as you opened the computer. Adding insult to injury, I further pressed my husband, who looked frustrated as he bit his lip. And to top it off, you've been making quite a bit of money selling those photos, haven't you?
Well,
I heard Jennifer's classmates found cosplay photos online that looked like her and showed them to her. She was pretty shocked and devastated by it, you know? But because Jennifer had been sworn to secrecy about the photos by Kenny, she couldn't confide in anyone and kept it to herself. And because of that, Jennifer's belly has been.
could it be that she's pregnant? But I have no idea. It's none of my business anyway.
More concerned about himself than our daughter's well-being. He's truly the worst. No, that's not it. Jennifer was so stressed out that she developed severe constipation. The abnormal bloating in our daughter's belly was due to stress-induced constipation. When the doctor informed us at the hospital, I felt relieved, but at the same time, I deeply regretted not realizing the extent of our daughter's suffering and struggles.
Did you take her to the hospital? Didn't I tell you not to show her to the doctor?
I wonder if you thought it'd be bad if Jennifer said something during the examination.
Ugh.
The reason my husband doesn't retort must have hit close to home. Without a word, I thrust the divorce papers I had prepared at him. My husband's expression momentarily showed surprise.
Divorce? Well, divorce might be inevitable, but I'll take custody of Jennifer.
How? What are you talking about?
Because Jennifer is attached to me. Besides, I earn more, so I'll easily get custody.
Even at this point, he's convinced he can twist things to suit himself. He smirked. You're so full of yourself. But she already said she doesn't want to see her dad anymore.
Stop lying. There's no way she'd say that.
I took out my phone and showed him a message from Jennifer that read, "I hate Dad."
That's a lie. She loves me. She's my Jennifer.
Suddenly, Kenny began throwing whatever he could find in the room, causing a commotion. It was ridiculous, like a child throwing a tantrum after having their toy taken away. Seeing it was futile to intervene, I watched in disbelief.
It's your fault. I'll never forgive you.
A few minutes later, when there was nothing left to throw, he turned his angry gaze toward me, but his childish behavior just made me sigh. I never imagined my husband could be such a wimp. But I can't afford to lose for the sake of my precious daughter. I've already told my parents everything about our divorce and the reasons behind it. You have to explain it to your parents yourself. I could explain the truth without twisting it, but what will you do?
Wait a minute. Does your dad already know about this?
That's what I just said, isn't it?
Why do you always do whatever you want? This is our family's problem. It has nothing to do with your parents.
While scratching his head in frustration and pacing around the room, my husband began to vent his irritation at me.
It's not unrelated. Jennifer is our precious granddaughter.
At that moment, the door opened and my father walked in. My husband, who had been so confident until then, shrank back in surprise.
Sam?
with the arrival of my father, Sam, who is not only Kenny's father-in-law, but also the president of his company. Kenny, who used to be full of confidence, suddenly shrunk.
First, as the president of your company, let me tell you, we run a company that makes toys that make children excited. We don't need employees who treat children like products. You're fired.
That's Sam. Please spare me that much.
Although my husband panicked at the idea of losing his job, my father continued speaking without paying any mind to it.
As Jennifer's grandfather this time, knock it off. It's disgusting to look at your own daughter like that.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it again, I swear. Please.
Kenny panicked and offered a sincere apology to my father.
Natalie, can't you say something to Sam? Convince him for me.
Seemingly realizing he couldn't handle it alone, my husband came crying to me for help. As far as I'm concerned, we're already divorcing and becoming strangers. Whatever happens to you doesn't concern me anymore. The company's affairs are decided by my father anyway.
Don't be so cold-hearted. We've been married for over 10 years, haven't we?
Unfortunately, that's true. As I sighed, my husband seemed to think I might forgive him, so he crept closer to me. I regret not divorcing when I found out about the embezzlement of savings before Jennifer was born. Pushing Kenny away, I once again placed the divorce papers in front of him, and he suddenly became defiant.
I'm not getting divorced. I take back what I said earlier. Since you haven't signed it yet, it's fine, right?
How? What are you talking about? No matter how much you say that, my decision to divorce is firm, so it's a waste of time. Despite my refusals, my husband, who kept coming closer, finally prostrated himself before me.
Let's just calmly talk this over, Natalie. If we talk, we'll eventually understand each other.
Nah, it's already impossible. Still persistent, my husband continued to cling to me, crying.
Then, if I said I'd give up this hobby, would you forgive me? Please forgive me.
I couldn't help but regret marrying someone so selfish and self-centered, who only thinks of themselves. I'm tired of you only caring about yourself. Think about how deep the scars on Jennifer's heart are. Compared to that, your job loss is nothing but a joke.
But
Even as I looked at him coldly, he continued to mutter excuses. Stop with the excuses and nonsense. You involved our precious daughter in your hobby, treated her like a product, and expect forgiveness. Goodbye already. Unable to say anything in return, my husband slumped to the floor and began sobbing uncontrollably. In the following days, the divorce between Kenny and me was finalized. I made sure to dispose of all the photos we had taken of our daughter, wiping out every trace of them. I demanded a lump sum of $100,000 from my husband as compensation for the emotional damage to our daughter and child support. And as my father had declared, he was indeed fired from his job. There were various speculations within the company about his sudden resignation, but eventually, the talk faded away, and my husband, who wasn't particularly good at his job to begin with, was completely forgotten. Kenny apparently went into debt for the compensation, and now he works multiple part-time jobs every day. On the other hand, my daughter and I moved back to my parents' house and started a new life. Jennifer, who is now cheerful and smiling every day, attends school energetically. As a mother, I want to continue protecting my daughter firmly in the future.